stellar sea lions can weigh up to 2,500 pounds. Their natural habitat reaches from the ocean surface to the ocean floor. The underwater space required to house them, along with the cost of food and maintenance, prevents most zoos from exhibiting them. But the Oregon Zoo took on the challenge and created the groundbreaking Stellar Cove exhibit with their two male stellar sea lions, Gus and Julius. The exhibit was well on its way to being considered a success when the zoo got a call about an orphan elephant seal that needed special care or it would die.
Mira is a wonderful animal, and it's a miracle that she's alive because she's completely blind and has been since birth. She's approximately 2.5 years old, and she is about 350 pounds right now. She will get much larger, and in fact, if all goes well, she probably will be larger than the male stellars out here.
Stellar Cove may be able to handle 3 potentially massive sea lions, but the fact that Mira is blind and a seal brought up a major design issue. The exhibit simply wasn't designed for her.
Elephant seals have a little bit different physical makeup than sea lions. They inch along the ground more like an inchworm rather than walk on their flippers like sea lions. When we got her here and got her in the pool, we had designed this exhibit for sea lions and didn't take seals into consideration.
The problem was that with the original design, Mira couldn't get out of the water. She uses her whiskers to sense where she is, and when she runs into the edge of the pool, the back half of her body drops down, and she gives up. The zoo had to come up with a solution to care for their new seal. It would be a gargantuan effort that called into service the emergency draining system that removes all the water in the tank in just 5 minutes.
We had to drain this pool and modify the rock work so it had a nice slope, a gentle slope to a ramp, so that our elephant seal can get herself in and out of the pool.
When the ramp was completed and the pool filled, there was great anticipation to see if Mira would take to the new structure. The sightless seal found her way out. It would be the first step of her growing independence and ability to thrive in her new environment.
We're hoping that as she swims in this large exhibit more, she'll build up her muscles and then be able to get herself out by figuring it out as she grows up.
Getting Mira in and out of the water isn't the only challenge the zoo staff faces with a blind elephant seal. Feeding and caring for her requires special attention.
We've been having to teach her to basically be in tune with the word instead of the hand signal that we would use with the stellars. She has an acute sense of hearing, and she's listening and picking up for cues and anything that might be changing in her environment. So she's a very, very fun animal to work with. Very good. Mira, over! There you go. Excellent.
Since Mira is still just a baby, the zoo was also concerned about aggressive behavior toward her from male sea lions, Gus and Julius. But it wasn't long before that fear was laid to rest.
The boys are actually intimidated by her. Even though they're 3 times her size, they pretty much stay clear of her. And she pretty much rules the pool in here, which is pretty funny.
With Mira keeping Gus and Julius on their toes, her presence at Stellar Cove has become a real benefit to the sea lions. Their companionship is deeply enriching and stimulating, making the exhibit successful beyond everyone's wildest dreams. It's this special kind of interspecies relationship that makes Stellar Cove a unique exhibit. Creating such stimulating relationships was the intent of designers when they put the sea otter pool right next to the sea lions. Sea lions and otters share feeding grounds and interact regularly. But to encourage interaction and make the habitat more stimulating, the design team came up with the ingenious idea of separating the 2 pools with 8 inches of clear acrylic so they can interact as they would in the wild.
We put glass panels, acrylic panels, in between each of the exhibits. So there's an acrylic panel in between the sea otters and sea lions so they can interact underwater.
Although it would have been ideal to have all the animals in one pool together, the zoo keeps them separated to ensure everyone is properly fed. But this wasn't the only reason to keep the otters separated. These crafty guys have serious security issues.
Sea otters have the ability to work apart anything. Every nut and bolt in the sea otter exhibit had to be tack welded down because eventually they're very creative, experienced animals, and very dexterous. They would take all these bolts apart.
Even though they're separated, the ability to interact is immensely enriching and ultimately provides for a more realistic setting for the otters. Another thing that makes this exhibit above and beyond anything like it in the world is the work the zoo is doing to help otters in the wild. It's a program designed to identify smells that otters dislike, which will be used to keep them away from oil spills. It's this kind of commitment and exemplary care combined with a realistic habitat that led to an event at Stellar Cove that has never occurred in a zoo anywhere. One of the southern sea otters recently gave birth to the first sea otter pup ever born in a zoo. This rare birth is a remarkable testament to the success of this naturalistic exhibit.
I think that the fact that we have two species like the stellar sea lion and the elephant seal on exhibit together is really unique. Nobody else has that, which is really cool. And stellar sea lions, you don't get to see them a whole lot on exhibit. There's only a few facilities in the country that have that, and even fewer that have elephant seals. So to combine the two is really neat.
The Oregon Zoo has defied convention by providing a realistic exhibit for huge marine mammals. Then, adapting that exhibit to the unforeseen needs of a blind elephant seal pup. To do all this, and provide a home for the first ever sea otter birth in a zoo, it's clear to see why Stellar Cove at the Oregon Zoo has earned its place in the